Joining us now, we welcome a woman who's written a really interesting book of a couple of short stories, and we're going to find out about it. It's called The Choice Weighted Letters. We're joined by Audrey Burke-Moore today. She's from Alabama. She joined us by telephone. And Audrey, good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. You had a chance to read through the book, and it's really kind of like two stories of people. Talk a little bit about how you put it together.
Okay. Well, the first story is called The Promise, and it kind of follows children as they grow up. You know how it could be if you met a girl when you were 10 or 12, and y'all just really kicked it off. You were interested in each other, and as you grew, so did the love. And then you found out you're sick, and the girl made a promise to you that she'll always be here for you. But now that you're older, 18, 19, 20, you really need her. And so that's the choice she has to make in the book. Will she come back to your hometown to help you? And the second story is called The Bridge. Same scenario. Two adults meet. They go out. They fall in love. Everything's just beautiful until something tragic happens. And the mom to the girl, the female, is trapped in the whole tragedy that went down. The guy, he has a challenge. He can go back to that very same day and fix everything that went wrong. And the only thing he has to give up is the girl, the wife, the children. Everything that he knows now is at risk for being lost. So the female, she just might not remember if he decides to go back and correct this wrong.
Great premise. I guess you could say they're what would you do if type of stories, and I think everybody has had some kind of situation, if not the exact same, but somewhere in their lives that they've had to make choices like that. So you come up with two good ones there. Where did you get the ideas from?
I don't know. I just come up with them. I like to think when I have a good dialogue in my mind, and I go to sleep and I dream about it. Then the next day I write the story the same way I saw it in my dream.
You mentioned dialogue, and I was going to mention that just reading through it, you really do a lot of great dialogue between the characters, and you almost feel as if you're watching them almost on a screen, the way they talk to each other. You're very, very vivid. You did a good job with that. Did you enjoy that part of writing?
Yes, I love it. I like it so that the reader can read the words of the characters. Kind of like if the character was performing out in front of the reader. That's the way I like the reader to get the books, my stories. I want the characters to talk to the reader, not the author. So I have a very small part in each story that I write, and I let the characters just take over. This is their story, not mine.
How do you go about that aspect of it, the dialogue part? Do you kind of talk it out loud, or how do you? I know you said you dream the stories as well, but what about the dialogue? How do you write that?
Well, I like to.
Do you act it out? I guess it's a better question. Do you act it out?
I don't really act it out, no. But once I write for, say, a female, if she has a male that she's talking to, then I might ask my husband. I'm married. Well, what would you say, baby, if I came to you and told you this? Or the same thing with my children, if they're being approached by another child. Well, what would you do? Because I can talk as the female, I can talk as the male, I can talk as the child. But I wanted to kind of be on their age level. I'm 34, and I just really like books to flow seamless, kind of like water. But so I have to, at times, reach out to other people so I can kind of see what would they say. How do I need to approach this dialogue that I'm writing?
You've always enjoyed writing, just reading some of the notes on your biography. I guess you started doing poetry, right? Is that where you started first, doing some poetry?
Yes. I did poetry young, 6, 7, and I entered contests. And then I won a couple of contests. My mom told me, I guarantee you'll grow up and be a writer. But then, when I was young, I didn't want to be a writer. I just wanted to be a poet. But I had stories. And so my first book came out. I'm like, oh, my goodness, I love this. So with that book, now I have this book. And I have 6, 7 other books already thought out. So I like the beginning. to climax the story and to end the story. The only thing I have to do is fill in the blank, fill in the gap.
Well, and just getting back to the two stories in this book, Weighted Letters, the premise of it is so vivid, and you talk about, I think everybody has some kind of, they relate to, particularly the one where you meet somebody at a young age as a child, and you sort of know that might be your person that you want to be with the rest of your life. Everybody's had that experience. Whether it works out that way may not be the case, but that's a great premise, isn't it?
It is. I love it.
Did that happen to you?
Well,
or you met later on, your husband?
We met later on, but I can still pull from people I met when I was younger, pull from the feeling to write about it without being disrespectful. But that's kind of how I get all the storyline for all of my books.
Well, this one again is called The Choice, a great what would you do if type of book, Weighted Letters, two stories in this book, and it's really an interesting read. I know as we're in the summertime now, people are looking for stories they can kind of get lost in, and I think not only is it entertaining, but it makes you think. Is that kind of what you try and get from the reader?
Yes, I like to entertain them. I like for them to think. I like for them to reach out to me as the author and be like, hey, well, what about this next time? Or I would have done this next time. Reach out to me, the author, and I will take whatever they say into consideration when I bring that same character back to another book.
Do you have a website, Audrey? People can contact you and order the book. We're going to have a place as well on the website where we post the interview, but do you have a website you want to direct people to?
Yes, they can go to audreyburkemoore.com, or they can go to thechoiceseries.com.
Great. Well, Audrey, it's been a pleasure to talk to you again. I know you said you had 6 more in the works, so when those are ready to go, we'd love to talk to you again at that time. But in the meantime, we invite people tuning in to get this one, The Choice Weighted Letters, written by Audrey Burke-Moore. And Audrey, good luck to you, and thanks for joining us today. Good talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.